Hello, I'm Karen Buck with Wedding 411 podcast, and thank you for joining us today. Today we have Scott Wagner, who is second generation here at Michael's 8th Avenue. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you.
Michael's 8th Avenue is so much more than just a ballroom. They have this fabulous Victorian staircase behind us so the couples can enter into the room. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the staircase is used for?
Well, a lot of pictures. I mean, certainly a grand entrance for the bridal party and the bride and groom. You know, it's a funny story how it came about. Rosie O'Grady's down in Florida. My parents were on vacation. Every time they go on vacation, they come back with something. And this time they called. We were under construction back in 1990, and he says they saw Rosie O'Grady's people dancing down the staircase. And he says, we got to have a staircase for brides and grooms. So, voila, we had to stop construction and redo the whole thing. But really, it's been a feature of the building that makes us unique. And it makes the bride have the grand entrance that all brides want.
Absolutely. You also have another passion, and because of the rumbling of thunder outside right now, we can't be outside.
It doesn't rain outside.
But you have spent a lot of time putting in, without a doubt, one of the most gorgeous, intricate gardens that I have seen. Can you tell us a little bit about the garden?
Again, my parents were on vacation, and he calls. We had this piece of property up back at Michael's, and he says, I want to build a wedding garden. And I said, what is a wedding garden? He goes, I don't know, statues and fountains and ponds and flowers and a chapel. I'm like, where are we doing that? He goes, right out back. So we literally, without plans and blueprints, over years, just with our mind and our imagination, developed this beautiful outside facility that you know, couples can, you know, experience their wedding day outside, have a Gatsby type party in the garden, and then come on inside and for your formal reception. So well, it's a great place for, you know, everything to happen at one place.
You've got that. Let's talk a little bit about the planning of the venue and the reception. Couples come to you. What is one of the top questions that they ask when they first arrive?
Well, if they're getting married outside, they want to know what happens if it rains.
Yes.
So the answer is we come inside where we are.
Absolutely.
You know, there's so many questions. You know, availability, cost, you know, menu selections and those type of things. I mean, we just try to, there's not really a first question, there's a lot of questions at first. And, you know, we just try to, you know, I try to tell every bride, you know, you're only limited by your imagination. So we try to give you a structure to what to get your mind working on and then build around it. Absolutely.
There's many more places within a facility. It's not just a reception room. Maybe they choose to have their ceremony here. Maybe they choose to have their ceremony outside and come inside for the reception. Do you suggest that couples possibly consider having their ceremony and reception all in one place?
Well, I mean, I believe that the trend in the industry right now is that, you know, I say, people aren't getting married within their church as much anymore. They're, you know, Catholics aren't marrying Catholics, Baptists aren't marrying Baptists, but love crosses lines. And, you know, I think having the ceremony and the reception in the same place, it adds time to all the planning. I mean, some brides put a year plus into this, and if, you know, if you're only getting 4 hours for a reception, it's simply not enough time. You know, you're getting 7 hours in most cases if you're doing, well, if you're doing your ceremony outside and coming over here, you're extending your party. And plus, I always joke, if you do the ceremony and reception in the same place, you know, groomsman Steve doesn't get lost coming from the church. But, you know, it definitely adds convenience to, you know, the whole day. It extends the whole day, and it makes it more relaxing, I believe.
Sure. Also, there's many more vendors that take place during the wedding and the reception, from the photographer, the DJ, the videographer, the limousine guy. Tell us a little bit, should couples look at just using the preferred vendors that are on the preferred vendor list? Does that matter?
No. The people on our preferred vendor list are simply people that we work with over the years that, you know, we, you know, like to work with them. They, you know, they work well with each other, which is important. You know, I stress to brides and grooms that you really want to work with somebody that you like and you know, that's flexible, because flexibility is so key when you're planning your wedding reception. And, you know, that's one of the things that, you know, you see the comments online. That's one thing that, you know, we're flexible, and, you know, everybody's got to work together. And I always say, if you see a photographer that's got pretty pictures, for example, and he's hard to work with, find another photographer. Because you don't need the aggravation. Work with people you like to work with. There's a lot of folks out there that'll be glad to, you know, share your day with you.
Tell us about an awkward question for couples: tipping. I get people that ask me when we attend wedding shows. They come up to my booth with questions sometimes. Should they tip the maitre d'? Should they? Tell me your thoughts on that.
I mean, we don't discourage it, we don't encourage it. You don't have to here. I mean, I believe that, especially with a staff, if you're hiring a banquet hall or, you know, a caterer, that should be included in the price. Normally you have a service charge or gratuity, you know, added on, but even if it's not, it shouldn't be the client's responsibility to tip the staff. Now, the staff's going to, you know, certainly not come and tell me I got tipped and, you know, you share the money with me or anything. But, you know, no. I mean, we are fortunate here. Our staff has been here so long. I mean, I can look around the room when they're here and go 15 years, 12 years, 10. You know, we take care of, you know, our people. And you know, I've always found that it's harder to, it's easier to keep a person than hire a new person and teach them to bring them to the level. So we've really done it. So, you know, no, my advice would be use your own judgment. But the staff that you hire with the caterer, you know,
I think that's important, because a lot of brides will go to a facility and they start working with one person and they end up working with someone else. So I think that's an advantage. So, I would love to go out and see that garden. Do you have something that will keep us from getting wet?
What happens if it rains?
We have a Michael's umbrella. Thank you for joining us.